Good evening, guys. Good evening. How are you guys doing? Good evening, guys. How are you guys doing? Okay. So, Welcome to today's class. All right, maximize this. So, okay. So, we are going to start off today with working and opening with VS Code. So, we are going to open VS Code. Let me make sure that this is still working, and let us set the sound properly. Okay, I think the sound is set. So let's go ahead and see what's up. So please, if you can hear me properly, please send a message so I know that you can hear me. Okay, please, if you can hear me, please make sure to send a message. Then I will know that you can hear me, and we can continue with what you have for today. So remember I told you guys to download VS Code, Visual Studio Code, and Git and GitHub and the rest. So we are going to first of all go to our VS Code and see how we can make use of that. So I created this folder, this developers hub folder, and there are two ways we can open this folder in our VS Code. The first one is we can go to our VS Code directly and open this folder, and the second one is we can do it from the terminal. So the more professional way to do it is opening it from the terminal. So to do that, you come here, right click it, and then you see open in terminal, and then you click that. So once you do that, this plane is going to pop up. So to open your VS Code from the terminal, you just have to type code. Sorry, you just have to type code and then give a space, then add a dot and click enter. So this is going to go ahead and open our VS Code in our folder. So now our VS Code has been opened. All right, it's going to ask for authentication. Okay, it didn't do that. So now when you open a VS Code as a newbie, the first thing I want you to install is you go to this extension, and when you get here, you look for Lifesaver. This, you look for Lifesaver and then install it. My own, I already have it installed, so it's going to pop up uninstall and the rest. So you are going to install your own. Then after that, you are going to find prettier code formatter. This is what you're going to look for the next. And then when you find prettier code formatter, you also install it. All right, so that is the two extensions that I need you guys to install first. These are the two extensions that I need you guys to install first. So let us start. So we are going to go to our code, and we are going to first of all create a text file. That we are going to be writing out important things or pretty small things that we need. So first thing, we are going to ask who is, okay, it's going to be in cap lock, who is a developer. All right, who is a developer? So now, who is a developer? A developer is somebody or a professional that writes computer codes or set of instructions for a computer to follow. That is who a developer is. So a developer is a professional that gives or writes instructions or guidelines for a computer to follow. Now, in this course, we are treating web development. All right. So now we've treated who a developer is. So the next thing we are going to ask is who. Okay, let me increase the screen so you guys can see it more. All right. Okay. Let's take this guy out. Increase it a little bit more. Yeah, this is good. So the next thing we are going to ask is who is a web developer? All right. Who is a web developer? Now, a web developer is somebody that writes code that a browser interprets. You know, when you go to your Opera Mini, Chrome, Fox browsers, for they all have an engine that interprets native HTML, JavaScript, PHP codes, and then puts it out for you to see. Let's go, for example, let's go to our this thing browser now, and let us type in okay, let's go Jumia. Sorry, let's go Jumia.ng. All right, I don't know if that's the correct extension, but let's look at it. Okay, now this is Jumia homepage. All of these things you are seeing here are web codes. Some of them are HTML, JavaScript, PHP, and the rest. So this is what dev does. A developer writes this code, and the browser, our browser, which is our client, you can call it a client, our browser interprets the code and pushes it out as this thing you are seeing. All of these elements you see here are computer code written by a developer. So now we've treated who a developer is. So now under developer, they have a front end, okay, branches of web development, okay, development. All right. Now they have a front end, have back end, they have UI, sorry, they have UI slash UX designers, and then they have a full stack. Okay, so the first one we are going to treat is who's a front end developer. Yeah. Okay, we're connected. So please, if you can still hear me, let me know so I'll be sure you can hear me. So first of all, we're going to take care of who's a front end developer. Now, you are seeing this entire page. This entire page, as you are seeing it, it is the job of a front end developer to design this entire page to make it look like this. So a front end is also called a client side. You understand? So the client side is the client only sees what's going on, but the client doesn't know what's working behind the scenes. So a front end developer's job is to create, write these codes, these front end codes that the user sees, touches, clicks. When you click this, you see this click. As this button click happens, is a front end code that is working it. Whatever you're seeing here are front end codes. So now we are going to go ahead and we are going to treat who is a back-end developer. Now, back-end developers are like cameramen in movies. We don't actually see them, but we know that they are there. So back-end developers, they are the ones that write the server-side codes. They call it server-side. So the server-side handles the user login. Okay, let's find a page that okay, I have a website of mine, that I designed. So let's use that as an example. Sorry, let's use that as an example to give you what a back-end code does. So now this website we are going, I built it myself. So let's go ahead and do sign in. All right. So I've already created a user. So I'm going to sign in with this user now. So now if I have a wrong user, it's going to tell me, okay, this is a username. So let's use this username and let's see the password. Okay, let's change one something and then we click sign in. Now it's going to do something. All right, it says invalid password slash username. It is a back-end code that is authorizing this user to log in or log out. So what it does is that once I click sign in, it's going to go to the server, or it's going to go to the what is it called, the database, and check if this user exists. If the user exists, it's going to log in. If this user doesn't exist, it's going to push you back to this sign in page and tell you that there is an error. You understand? This is what a back-end code does, a back-end developer does. They design the server side, the database, the handling of requests, and every other thing. That's what the back-end developer does. As you can see now, the credentials are correct. What it did is signed me up instantly, or sorry, it signed me in instantly because it is correct. So now that we've treated what a back-end developer is, we are going to go ahead and see who is a UI UX designer. So in full meaning, UI UX means user interface and user experience. Now in this phase of development, the first phase is UI UX. UI UX is in charge of designing this phase. They don't actually write the code. You understand? In my own terms, I call them glorified graphic designers. They don't actually write the code. They just design the interface. They design the look, the feel, how the user experiences stuff in the website. So this is what the UI UX designer does. All right. So now they are in charge of designing these interfaces, things you see, how they look, the spaces around them, the margin and everything. And when they are done doing the design, they will send the design over to the front end designer or front end developer. Now the front end developer writes or translates that design into actual codes. So that is the actual difference between a UI UX and a front end developer. The front end developer translates the UI UX design into actual code. Now, do you guys understand? Please, if you have a question, please type in your question. If you have a question, type your question. If you can hear me, please tell me that you can hear me so I can know how I'm adjusting to some things. So now we've treated designer. Who is a full stack designer? A full stack designer is a developer that can handle the front end, the back end, the UI UX, and every other thing. That is a full stack developer. So a full stack developer writes the front end, the back end, and everything. So that is it about web dev and who is a web dev and the branches of web development. So now in web development, there are languages that are used in writing a website. Languages, let's put it up here. Languages, sorry, cap lock. Let's give it another space so it should be languages used in web development, or rather technologies. So you have HTML. HTML stands for hypertext markup or language. All right. Am I correct? Yeah, language. Then you have CSS is not actually a language, all right, but it's very important. Its full name is cascading cascading style sheet. Now we have JavaScript. JavaScript is a front end language. Then we have React. React is a JavaScript library, React.js, React.js. Then we have, sorry about that. We have, sorry, oh God. We have Vue.js. They are front end libraries. And then when it comes to back end, you have, okay, there is also Angular. Angular is a front end library. Then all of these things listed from number 11 to 16, they are front end libraries. Then for back end, we have Node.js, we have PHP, we have Python, and for cloud services we have AWS and so forth. Then there are also some technologies required like Git and GitHub. Git and GitHub is used for version control, and also it's just like an online storage. It allows two or more people to work together on a file or on a project. So that's the essence of Git and GitHub, and we are going to see all of that in a few time to come. So I know we've wasted so much time, so let us go ahead and jump straight into HTML and see how we're going to do some cool little stuff, and then we'll call it a day. So now, to create your first HTML, you're going to come here and click this plus button, and then you write index. Sorry, it's going to be small capital letter, small letters. So I'm going to do index dot, the extension dot is always going to be HTML. Don't forget to add this dot here. This .html is also going to tell the browser the kind of file that we are dealing with. So now we are going to go ahead and save, or click enter rather. So now that we are here, I'm going to teach you guys a little shortcuts that VS Code provides that is going to help us make our code faster and reduce the stress for us. So now we are going to press your shift key and your number 1, and it's going to pop up this exclamation mark. Then you're going to click enter. It's going to give you this what is it called, this template. So now we want to make this thing to look wrapped, so that this overflow, we don't have to be going all the way here to see the rest of our code. So you come up here, you're going to view, and under view you are going to do word wrap. You see this, you're going to select word wrap, and when you select word wrap, what is going to do is going to and launch this. Now remember I told you guys to download an extension called Lifesaver. So now with that Lifesaver, we don't have to go over and refresh our what is it called, okay, we are not going to go over and refresh our browser each time we make changes to our code. So I'm going to go ahead and just click to go live, this button. You click it, and what it's going to do is going to go live and open your browser. Can you guys see it now? We have an empty space. So now let me explain to you in details what each line of code does. All right, so now when you're writing your HTML code, you're first of all going to write this first line, this dot type HTML. So what this is going to do is going to tell the browser that this file here, that is going to treat it as a HTML file. You understand? So what it's going to do is going to take this file and tell the browser, hey, yeah, look at this thing. This is a HTML file. I want you to treat this thing like a HTML web file. So this is what this first one does. Now in HTML, there's what they call opening and closing tags. We're going to deal with that in a bit. So to do that, the first opening tag and closing tag, let us go to our text and write it out here. So go to HTML, sorry, couple of HTML elements. So the first one we're going to do is tags. So they have opening and closing tags. Let's say brackets, I have opening and closing tags. All right. So now the first thing we wrote here is this HTML. Yeah. So in fact, let me delete it all and type it all out so you understand. So first thing I'm going to do is doc type here. I'm going to do HTML. Now we're going to open a HTML tag. Sorry, let's do that. I'm going to open an HTML tag and we're going to close it. Automatically VS Code closes it for us. Now that we've opened it, we are going to set the language. We're going to set the language and we're going to test it to English. Now you guys will be a little bit confused and you're like, what is all this? What is this one doing inside here? Now this is what we call an attribute and this is a value. So an attribute is always on the left hand side. This equals to is called assigner and this one is called the value. So now this language is an attribute. Can you guys see it now? It says helps define the language of an element. You understand? So now we are specifying the language to be English. So after the HTML, the next thing we are going to write is the head tag, not the header, the head tag. And we're going to click enter and we're going to close it. Are you guys see now? Inside the head tag contains our website's metadata. That's what they call metadata. You understand? That metadata, the user doesn't usually see it. Is what is where you include all the files that your website needs to run. So now we're going to first of all declare the metadata of our viewport. So we are going to say what is it called again? I'm going to say viewport. I'm sorry you guys, sorry about that. I've totally forgotten what it is about, so we're going to just take it out. Okay, yes, sorry. The first thing we're going to do is set the character set. I'm so sorry, I've forgotten a lot of things going through my head. So we're going to do char set. I'm going to set it to UTF-8. So now what this does is, okay, let's take this guy, sorry. So now what this guy does is to set the character set. This is called character set. Now see it here. You see this attribute declares the page character encoding. Are you guys seeing it? So it declares the page character encoding. So the next thing you are going to do is you are going to write another metadata, which we are going to do viewport. Yeah, am I right? Yes, viewport. I'm going to say is going to be width should be device width. Sorry, width should be device width. Initial scale to be 1.0. Am I right? Yes, I think I should be right here. Yeah. So sorry, name is viewport and yeah, I'm not right. I failed it. So we are going to fix that up. I'm so sorry about that. So let's go ahead and fix that. So we are going to first of all give it a name. Yeah, we're going to call it a viewport. All right, and we're going to say content. This is the attribute. I'm going to say width. All right, equals to device width. So I'm typing this thing out so you guys get used to it. I'm going to say initial scale and we are going to set it to 1.0. Yeah, I think we are done. So what this line of code does is going to make our website responsive. That's what this line of code does. It's going to make our website responsive. So let's hover around it and see. It said this attribute contains the value of HTTP equivalent. So it's going to make our website responsive. So the next thing we are going to do, we are going to define the title of our page. So now we are going to call it my first websites. All right, I'm going to save. Now that we've saved, we are going to go back to our browser and then we are going to see something. All right, so it's not loading. Okay, So now that you guys see something up here, this thing, this is the title of your page. This is where it's going to happen. So now that we've treated the basic HTML document, we are going to, okay, sorry, after head comes the body. So sorry. So inside the body is where all whatever you're writing is going to be. So if you like have a million lines of code, is going to be inside this body. So now that I've treated that, we are going to deal with HTML heading tags. So I'm going to deal with HTML headings. So heading, sorry, let's put it on cap lock. Heading tags. So in these heading tags, we have H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, and H6. Now these are the heading tags we have, H1 to H6. We are going to save and then we are going to write them out and we'll see how it looks like. So first of all, we're going to open our braces. We type H1 and then we close it, and then we are going to write heading, heading 1. I'm going to come here and write our H2. I'm going to say, sorry about that, we are going to say heading 2. I'm going to come here, write H3. I'm going to go heading 3. You know what, let's just copy this heading and then let's copy this heading so we don't have to always type it over again. So I'm going to go H4, we're going to go heading 4, H5, I'm going to go heading 6, heading 5, and then we're going to go H6, sorry about that. So you're going to go H6, I'm going to call it heading 6. All right, so we're going to save this and we're going to go to our browser and see what it looks like. All right, so do you guys notice something? Heading 1 is bigger than heading 2, heading 2 is bigger than heading 3, till we went down to heading 6. So this tells you that H1 is bigger than H2, and H2 is bigger than H3, and H3 is bigger than H4, till you get to your H6. So you guys, this is all we have to do today about introduction to HTML. We've treated introduction to HTML, who is a web developer, the types of branches in web development, the back end, the front end, the UI and the UX designer, and we've thought about HTML tags. We've treated the basic templates in HTML. We've also treated the HTML tags, the opening and the closing tags. We treated the H1, H2, and the H3. So you guys, if you have any question, that you wish to ask, please do not endeavor to do that in the group, and I'm going to leave the group open and you ask your questions and I will try my best to answer them. See you guys tomorrow.